like through Association of Related Churches, which is called ARC here. And so we did all the training there as well, which was resources to the call. Yeah.
And so it's significant that you brought a bunch of, would you call them millennials? Would you call them Generation Z? Young people, young guys with you under your mentorship, as you called it. I'd love to talk a little bit more about mentoring. But bringing them as a team, I guess that set you up then to plant to people who are like you.
Yeah, I mean, like the guys that came over with us, like they're incredible. And like none of us were perfect. Like none of us had it all down pat. But these are the guys that when you're young, you have like a lack of shame in the sense that you kind of don't care as much about what people like you kind of just go get it.
Yeah.
And these guys were like, they'd move across the other side of the world to follow us because they believed in the call that God had for them.
Yeah.
And so that's not like an easy thing to do. Yeah. And so to kind of just sit around and not engage in the conversation of Jesus in the marketplace was not an option for them. They're like, we've laid down our whole life so that we can do this. And so they were fantastic because when it came to actually going and meeting people, they're not scared to meet people. Maybe it's an Aussie trait as well. Like we're very open door type of people. And so they would go into cafes and they'd be like, hey, can I order a flat white? And then they would make friends with the barista. Actually, one of our guys, he kept on trying to connect with this one barista. And this barista was like, nah, you're a church planner. I know exactly what you're after. I grew up in a Christian home. I'm not with God right now. Like I don't want to be interested. So that barista is now our campus pastor in Squamish. Because a millennial or a Gen X decided to be consistent with the purpose that he saw on the barista's life.
Amazing.
And I just think you can never like God's vision for an individual will always be greater than your vision for an individual. And so as much as you dream for people and have purpose for people, God's dreams and purposes for them is far greater. So don't give up. Awesome. Don't give up on that message. But they were fantastic.
So it felt like you attracted a radical following, because you guys were radical in the way that you'd come, like you say, across the world to come and plan in this place that God had called you to so obviously. And I guess, so that's attracted other millennials, other young people. Just tell us a little bit about your context now, the people who are part of your community. And coffee's a big part of that, hey?
So coffee is a big part of that. We were actually, this is another miracle story. We were given a building in North Vancouver, which had an existing cafe, which needed a lot of work done to it to actually make it profitable and also make good coffee. And so one of the guys that came over with us was a qualified barista, and his dream was to run a coffee shop that had mission focus. And he's currently the manager of our cafe in North Van called Barrio, which just means neighborhood in Spanish. And, the coffee definitely attracted people. It is actually like if you can have those businesses, those like micro businesses, if you have a building, you should be utilizing that space to serve your community in whatever way that you can. And ours just so happened to be a local coffee shop. And so that's been awesome. But I mean, a bunch of millennials meant a bunch of millennial problems, but also millennial gains. Like, honestly, when we talk about millennials, the list of what millennials are generally is all negative. Like the world will say, millennials don't like being told what to do. Millennials this, millennials this. And it's kind of a lot of negativity about millennials. And because people don't know what to do with millennials. And so they just speak about what millennials are or are not, rather than actually engaging with millennials. And the truth is that they want the skills that millennials have, but they don't inspire any vision for millennials to actually want to partner their skills with. And it's like, actually, if you were to give them vision, you would engage their skills.